Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Passionately Speaking, our weekly public speaking class where we talk about all kinds of different advanced topics in public speaking, things that we don't necessarily uh, get to do when we're trying to develop our speech. So, this is icing on the cake. And today we're going to talk about body language, not something that I talk often about, but it is something that's so important, and the topic itself is mastering body language that speaks before you do. Now, have you ever thought about when you step on stage, you've introduced, everybody claps, you step on stage, do you know that you are speaking to your audience before you ever utter a word, before you ever even make it on stage? Because every step, every movement, hand gestures, looks, facial expressions, whatever you do as you're walking on stage, shaking the hand of the MC or whoever is introducing you, and as you turn, and all of that is being judged. It's being, you're speaking, you're talking to your audience, and that's the good news. But here is what we can do about it, right? Well, maybe it's not good news. It depends what you're doing. But I always say somebody's speech starts the moment they leave their home. Not when they get there, but the moment they leave their home, because you never know as you're driving down the street if you're going to see someone that's on the way to that same venue. You never know as you're parking your car in the parking lot if someone else is parking and going to come in right after you or before you. You see, a lot of people don't think that way, and they get out of their car or they're driving and they're all grumpy because they're maybe in their head because they haven't rehearsed enough. So they're like, "Do, do, do, do." So they don't pay attention maybe to traffic. They don't pay attention whether or not they cut somebody off. They don't pay attention if they stole somebody's parking place. And I'm saying, no, don't do that. That's why you have to be ready before you ever step out of your house, because you just never know. And attitude, of course, is everything. And how you carry yourself is everything for internal thoughts and feelings. If nothing else, if you're not worried, well, there nobody I know is going to ever see me. You never know, but do it for yourself. So that's what I say. The minute you leave your home, you are on, and your body is speaking, your facial expressions are speaking. But now we're at the venue, and now we've done our networking. We know we're being looked at. We know people are knowing that we're the speaker, et cetera. So they're looking at us and talking to us and whatever. So all of that matters. It all counts. But let's get to the real nitty-gritty of it. And that's when we do step on stage. When we step on stage, before we open our mouth, that is when all eyes are on us. Yeah, maybe at the networking parts, few eyes, but they're not looking at us in the same way as when we stand up to speak. So, one of the things you can make sure that you're doing is, what is your body saying? What is your mind saying? Because your body will follow what your mind says. Are you happy? Are you excited to be there? Are you of service? What is it that's going through your mind? In acting, and I studied theater for many years in college. In acting, one of the great, they don't talk about it anymore. That's how old, but Uta Hagen's method was one of the greatest teachers out there. A million years ago, and she taught us about the moment before we step on stage, the moment before that curtain opens. And what we want to do is be doing something active. Like maybe, oh, we just saw a roach on the floor, or oh, somebody just said hi to us, so that when we enter action, so that we're not just like, and then go. So I always think of that when I'm getting on stage. I'm always thinking, oh, I love her as I walk on stage. Oh, I love her top. I love her hat. I love this. I love that. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, la, la, la. I'm not thinking about my speech because that would change the look of my face. That would take me out of the room and into myself. So be thinking about and other, people, what's around you, that kind of thing. And when you do step after they introduce you, it's really important to stop and just look at everybody. Scan the room for a couple of seconds. You don't have to go blah, 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 the minute people, the minute they say your name, you're in charge, you're in control. Just set not only your body, but set the feeling in the room. And that could be a relaxed feeling. Maybe you want an exciting feeling, so you start up really, loud and fast, whatever it is that you want. Just know that your body, your eyes, your hands, everything speaks before your mouth opens already. So make sure, of course, it's congruent with your message and what it is you want them to know about you. There's so many speakers out there, untrained speakers, and we've all seen them that, I just wonder, why did they even get up out of bed in the morning? They're so down and so lectury and so blah, blah, blah. I wonder if they even like what they're talking about. There was a guy in one of my classes one time, and he sold energy drinks. This was a long time ago, before Celsius came out, before Monster came out. It was a energy drink that, of course, you could only buy through this kind of a distributorship, one of these, you know, um, multi-level direct marketing type of companies. And he was doing my system, and it was his final speech, and he's talking about it. And I asked him point blank if he ever thought of perhaps taking a sip of his own energy drink because he needed energy, right? So if you're selling an energy drink, you've got to show energy, right? So make sure whatever it is congruent, your body is congruent with your message and what it is you're sharing or trying to get people to do or buy. Okay, so let's, again, your message, your voice will speak, but your body speaks first. So we're going to use the word body. I'm going to use the acronym body to teach this today. And the B in body stands for balance. Stands for balance. I want you to think about that. And I want you to go advanced. So it's not just, okay, balance. When I talk about balance, I'm talking about how you stand. I'm talking about standing, yes, in balance, but more than just standing there with your legs shoulder length apart that, you've all heard me talk about. Don't get on one hip. I mean, really be conscious of this because it's so important. It shows confidence. You have to stand tall. You have to stand upright. You have to have your chest up and your head held high. One of the things that they taught us in posing when we're posing for bikini is not only to, I mean, it's easier to say stand up straight, but we have to stretch when you're um, a little over 50. You have to stretch even more because otherwise my loose skin will show, right? From being heavier and then losing it. Same if you've had babies or whatever. So they do it by telling you to just raise your shoulders up high, not just suck it in and not just push your chest out, but actually raising your whole entire body. And if you need to do that, if you're somebody that kind of slumps down, then do that. Whatever it is, you got to practice it. You can't wait till you go on stage and speak. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, Arvee said do this. No, I mean practice it, make sure you're doing, and that's what we have to do because we have to keep that stance. We have to keep that position sometimes for 2, 3, 5 minutes or more. And yeah, it can be, quite challenging to do that. It's hard work. When we pose, when we push out our butt, we have to do it until it hurts. If it doesn't hurt, we're not doing it right. So if you have to do that and it doesn't feel comfortable, you have to make it feel comfortable. You have to make your speech be override it so that no one sees your discomfort if it might be uncomfortable for you to stand up straight and be balanced, because that's again what you need. Now, are you going to relax? Yes, you're going to relax. But when you first come out and you're doing it, boom, you've got to be strong. You've got to be strong. If you're just standing there, you've got to go back into that position. So I'm not saying you walk around like that. No, there's times where you kind of relax, especially during your story or storytelling is the time you can be a little more relaxed. All right, but in the beginning, you've got to be confident. So balance, the stance, and when you walk, always walk with a purpose. Never, ever pace. Never just take a couple of steps and pace. And you'll be surprised how many people I see do this. And they're great speakers, but it's like a great singer. A great singer doesn't necessarily mean they're a performer. A performer is someone that can sing, walk, and talk and dance while singing, and you never even hear any change in their voice or any change in their breathing. They can do it seamlessly. And that's what we want to do as speakers. We want to be able to walk. We want to be able to talk. We want to be able to raise our voice and do all this stuff without losing our breath, without losing our confidence, without losing a beat, without missing a beat. It has to sound like it's maybe almost on a different track than our bodies, like a singer. So you want to become a speaker performer and not just stand in one spot. Unless you have to, there's always exceptions. Sometimes we're given really poor speaking stages, really poor places, and we have to just stand there or we're behind a table. So that's exceptions to the rule. But when we can move, we want to take advantage of it. We want to perform, but we always want to move with a purpose. And the purpose is something you tell yourself in your mind. I want to move over there. I want to get closer to that person or whatever it might be. And then you do it. This is why it's a real advantage to go to the venue ahead of time so that when you're practicing your speech, you can practice it with the stage in mind. If I know I'm going to have a big stage, like it's a big women's leadership conference, I go early, if not the year before when the conference is on, I go early and look at the stage, see what we're talking about. I'll walk the stage, and I even walk the stage on the day that I'm going to do the event. I always come early and make sure I walk the stage, whether there's multiple speakers or not. And you've got to really do that. It's going to help you out. It's not like, oh God, now I have another job to do. No, it's going to help you to be the best you can possibly be. And the better you are, the bit more the audience is going to learn. The more they learn, the more their heart's going to be open. The more their hearts are open, the more you're going to change their life. And that's what we're here to do. Change it through our journey or change it through our words, through our experiences. And that's when the real money happens, right? And that's what I've been talking about. That's where the wealth will follow for you and for them. So that's how important this is. The O is for openness, openness, openness. You want to be open. That means your heart open. That means your arms open, right? We don't want arm gestures that might look like this or might be closed off in any way. We want to make sure that people see us as open, they feel our openness, they experience our openness. We want to make sure that they know we're open by what? By giving them eye contact, right? They eye contact is the eyes into the soul. You can't get any more open than that. Give a lot of eye contact. Remember 3 seconds, right? Contact, connect, communicate, continue. So 4 seconds, contact, connect, communicate, and continue. About that long is how you want to look at each individual person. The smaller the audience, the easier it is. The larger the audience, it's more challenging, but just look at groups of people. Look at groups. That will show that you're open. That will show that you're confident. Now, the D is for directional gestures, directional gestures, which means you are giving your hands something to do. You're giving them direction. They are using it for direction. And your audiences is understanding a little bit more than words, right? They see it, they hear it, then they get it even more at a deeper cellular level. So things like around the world, he was a square. Use your hands on the telephone. He's a loser. Maybe not use that one, but you know what I mean. Whatever you can think of, give your hands direction so they're not just by your side flailing about or doing nothing. Give them direction. God, pray, whatever you want to do. But think about it. And the next time you speak, think about now what kind of direction can I give my hands, my arms, and what direction can they be saying to the audience? What can I really communicate to the audience by using on purpose directional hand gestures? Right? Because a lot of times we just go do 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 do, whatever, whatever, whatever. I'm saying really give them a job. Try it next time consciously. Now, the Y is for, and this is the last body language, and that's your face, your expressions on your face. Are they congruent with what you're saying? Are they showing that you're happy when you're happy? Some speakers I've seen are, they look like they're happy and they're talking about something sad, or vice versa. They're talking about something happy and they have such a, drawn out, long face. So make sure practice your face gestures in the mirror when you are talking, when you're doing your speech, especially for storytelling. And you should be putting a lot of stories in your speech, not just your professional story. But I want to remind you, you need testimonials in there. You need stories with a lesson in there. You need emotional stories in there. All those stories that we've talked about in the past, you need to make sure they're there. They don't have to be long stories. They can be really short stories, just like the one I told before we started about Michael. Just a couple sentences, boom. Short stories, shorter examples. And always, pay attention to the expression on your face when you're telling these stories. Make sure you're using your face, exaggerate your face, the look of surprise, the look of happiness. Maybe it's really, exaggerated. It's for your audience. You're performing, you're a speaker performer, remember? You're not just giving some boring presentation anymore. You are lighting up the room. You are lighting up their life. You are contributing to their life. You want to change their life. You have to be original. You have to be unique. You have to be excited. You have to be happy yourself and just show all of those expressions in your face. Be a light for your audience. Be brighter than anybody else. Okay. So, and the last thing I want to leave you with is this. Your audience will believe you and your body language before they believe your words. Okay? All right. So master your body language and your business will grow. All right. So that's our message for today. Are there any comments, anything that you've seen maybe in a speaker that you've listened to or saw, or anything maybe you've done yourself that you went, oops? Anybody want to share?
Hmm.
Dr. Luana?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but When you were talking about how you are on display before you ever do your speech, it
Yeah.
reminded me when I was working as a receptionist for this company, and I had access to the windows. We were on the second floor, so I could see the parking lot, okay?
Uh-huh.
Anytime there was an interview, they would come and ask me, did you see the person when they got out the car? What were they like? What were they doing? How did they act in the in the room before they were called in for the interview? So, you never know who's watching you and who's judging you. You have to be prepared. So it was a good reminder.
Wow, that's interesting. That's a
Mhm.
good thing to know. Yeah, good thing to pass on, to your children or whatever. Good one. Thank you, Dr. Lamont. I never would have thought of that. Okay, Dr. Renee.
So, yesterday I was just going through some Facebook things about people in LA from, my networking in Los Angeles between Beverly Hills and the San Fernando Valley and things like that. And so I saw a man that I knew, a guy, and then he's now in his 30s. He's married and he's from Greece. And his pictures look great because he has AI kind of what is it called? Airbrushing. When saw him speak, he was reading, but then he was behind a podium, but he was rocking, like stepping aside. It was very annoying. He would step here and step here, like every few seconds. He was nervous and just back and forth, and it was annoying. I said, so I'm going to refer him to you for speech clarification. I don't know if he's going to do it, but he's running for assemblyman or something like that.
Ugh.
And he speak he's you can understand him. He speaks English, but he's got such a strong accent, but he's got bad habits. And hopefully he's coachable. His name, I forgot his first name, but I'll find it and then I'll refer you. Is that okay? But
Absolutely.
he definitely needs your help. And it was, he's a he speaks, he does the reels, and he just is not clear. Just it's like it's just not clear. And when he's in front of people, he bounces back and forth. So
Yeah, if you could somehow get that across to him that it's not that he's bad, but he's a distract. Some of his habits are distracting.
yeah, and
Distraction.
there's yeah. Go ahead.
Distraction means that no votes. I mean, it means if he distracts his audience, he's going to lose them, not communicate with them, and that's going to cost him in votes.
Exactly. And he wants to win. And, he's an immigrant. He's a citizen now, but the accent is kind of thick and you can change that. But it's just the content. I know he means well and you can feel it. He's a college professor teaching something, I don't know, music or something like that. He definitely needs your help. And when I saw that, I said, I got to refer him to Arvee. I was just watching him this past weekend. I was getting ready to go to sleep and I just was going through my things. A friend of mine who sells insurance, she's 57. She just passed away on her birthday on Sunday. And so it got me thinking she's in Los Angeles. I thought, gosh, so I was just looking at all the other people who I've networked with in the past. It's just, what are they doing? What is everybody up to kind of thing. So, and he's in Los Angeles. So you could definitely coach him on Zoom,
That'd be perfect.
So yeah. And you can do that, right? You could do anything, Arvee, because you're Arvee Robinson.
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right. Anybody else want to comment anything they've seen or that they've done that they don't want to do anymore? Anybody else? Okay. All right. Well, just keep in mind, we don't have to talk a lot about body language, but just remember the main elements is how you stand, how you're gesturing, and also, gestures, eye contact, all of that matters. And it matters before you ever say a word on stage. So I would practice that just like you would your speech. Choreograph it just like a dancer and singer would choreograph their program to entertain you because we are entertainers as well as Speaking has come a long ways since the beginning, where it was just a learning mode, lecture mode. It's come a long ways, and now people expect to be entertained as well as learn. They want the information now. They don't want you to lead up to it and take an hour to get to the point. They want it now. They want it fast, fast and furious kind of thing. And you too. All of us do. We want to get to the point. Come on, get to the point, right? And then we're more apt to listen once they give us something juicy to sink our teeth into, and then we're more patient, let's say. But that's why speeches are shorter now. They're 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 if you're lucky. And, just because audiences have changed, we all have. So make sure you pay attention to what you do, how you act, what your arms, legs, eyes, and all of it is doing, not just what your mouth is doing. All right. So that's our lesson for today. We got a great lesson next week. Let me share with you what next week is, because I've put them all together. Next week is why great speakers never memorize their speeches. Why great speakers never memorize their speeches. So tune in again next week. In the meantime, does anybody have a speaking engagement? Katrina, do you have a speaking engagement coming up?
No, I had a question. You said speakers are entertainers,
Yes.
and how do you
Now
get to
we
be
are.
how do you get to be an entertainer if you're not funny and don't want to be funny?
Well, I didn't say you were a comedian.
Okay.
Entertainer means that for 30 minutes or whatever or less, you are keeping their interest, you're keeping their attention, you're keeping them excited, enthusiastic, and that's done by us what? Giving them really great information, but giving it to them in a way that's not dry, but
Okay.
giving it to them a fun way. Maybe it's through
Mhm.
audience participation, maybe it's through anything other than PowerPoint. Um,
Mhm.
but that's where you come in, and if you practice your speech a lot, I guarantee you these things will come. Ideas will come. Like I know I have a speech on the 30th. I've already started working on it in my head. I've already jotted down notes. I've already got two acronyms, and I have to kind of decide which one. I mean, the process is in your head for a long time before I sit down and finalize it and then practice it. 2 weeks ahead of time, I'll practice it. But right now, I'm giving my brain just time to work on it, right? And that's what you need to do. You don't wait till 2 days before and then go, right? Because then there's no creativity. But if you do it for a long time and then be thinking about it and stuff, then I get ideas. Oh, yeah, I could do that. And oh, yeah, I could do that. Right. And so, I mean, I've already got my clothes. Sometimes you have to begin with the end in mind, right? And so I have, something I'm going to do on the clothes that I haven't ever done before. Now, I don't know if it'll work or not, but why not try it? It's not my event, but I do split 50% with the host, which is typical what you do. And he wants me to sell something. Very seldom do we get to sell anything anymore, unless we're in our own room. So there's an opportunity that I could, try something else out and really help sell. I think, I think what I've got in mind will sell. I'm just bundling it all together, just throwing in almost everything that makes sense because I'm selling my online program. I have an online program all of you don't even know about yet, but I have an online program that I developed before COVID, but I just never launched it. I never sold it. COVID happened and then people scattered and then Michael passed and I just haven't had the wherewithal to go back and look at it and face it and try to launch it. But now's the time. Now's the time. So that's my first step at doing that. So yes, Dr. Renee.
You know what Trina just said is about people about being a comedian.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying about the entertainer. Part of being an entertainer is when you first walk out there, people are looking at your clothes. They are looking how fit you are. They're looking if you're heavy. I've learned this from, I have asked other audiences. I said, if somebody's very heavy coming on stage, because I do a lot of corporate stuff, what does that say to you? And they'll say, well, whatever they're going to say is not a lot of credibility, because if they don't have discipline in their mind to be slender. And I said, oh, really? And then they say, if they're heavy, because I've told my husband Jim, I said, honey, you got to lose some weight, because his corporate clients are all very slender. They wear Dockers, they wear, shirts in their pants. The women speakers are like you, Arvee. They have flat stomach, pumps, dresses right above the knee, black stockings, black pumps. It's just very corporate, which that's what sells. I mean, they're paying $5,000 an hour. You got to look the part. And that's, besides you being as athletic as you are, who's inspired me. It's inspired me also because if I'm in the audience, I'll ask the other people or I'll call them on the phone. What did you highlights you like the best of the points of the speech? And they'll go blah, blah, blah. What did you think of their appearance? Well, I really liked her a lot. I said, why? Well, she commanded the stage. She said this at one end and she said that at the other end. She wasn't walking around. She wasn't behind the podium. They'll say different things about different speakers. Or that they'll say that lady, she was so fat, or the man was so heavy, and it didn't look so, it kind of hurts the eyes. You know what I'm saying, Arvee? I'm not trying to be prejudiced or anything about heavy people, because my husband, heavy. But I've just asked recently in the last 3 or 4 months, and you're judged about what you're wearing. A woman's black dress with pearls, like, look at Dr. Lawana, how elegant that is. Black with pearls. That's like a typical something you'd wear on stage, I think. Long black dress and a jacket or something. But I think judging, because you're talking about body language, you're judged as soon as you enter the stage. Before you even say anything, and then you get present with the audience. I usually take a pause. Even if I'm saying a prayer before lunch in front of like 200 women, I'll take a pause. And then I look and look, and then I start in with Esther or something. Just different parts of the scripture. But as soon as I say Esther, they know which speech it's going to be. So the friends of mine who come. So this is another thing, Arvee. When I was in Los Angeles, I couldn't talk about God and Jesus because I was looked different. And I don't know, where we live, it's like we fit like a tongue and groove rather than a circle in a square. Now, I was living in a place that was very shallow, Beverly Hills. You know that, right, Arvee? So we couldn't, I felt awkward, and it was, I don't know. I don't want to get into the politics, but I was just sharing about people judge you by what you're wearing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and let me address just an example of a speaker that I know. He wasn't a client of mine, but he's been on my stage before. And he was like a big teddy bear. I was like, oh, big teddy bear. I don't know if you know Dave Lacani, that name or not, but he's a sales guy. Big teddy bear. I just loved him, loved hugging him. But next time I saw him, I was at another event, and next time I saw him, he was all slender. He was no longer the teddy bear. And I'm like, Dave, what happened? He said that he did a sales presentation for a big company, a big corporation, and he didn't get the job. And it was probably a $25,000 job. He didn't get the job. And when he asked why, they said because he didn't look fit. Right? So take it for what it's worth. And so what he did is he got fit. He didn't want to lose another job.
Yeah.
Will that happen to everybody? Who knows?
well, it gives you more credibility when you're fit, not like, oh gosh, this person looks like they're going to have a heart attack because they're so excited, or you just have to look fit. I mean, drink the right water, eat vegetables. I mean, do whatever it takes, chair exercises, there's different things. And you don't have to be an athlete, to work running 5 miles a day. You could do things at home. So I even have a girl now that I'm going to start paying as a subscriber. She does things you can do at home, chair exercises and floor exercises at home. You don't even need equipment, maybe a mat, maybe a roller, but not a lot. And to flatten your stomach, indoor Pilates. Okay.
There's, a lot. We're blessed. There's a lot of things on YouTube.
Yeah, for free. There's some for free.
Yeah. Okay, well, we need to go. Our time is up. Thank you all for listening. Again, pay attention to that body language when you step on stage the next time. Get out there and speak, ladies. And remember when you do to always speak with passion. Mwah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
God bless you all.
Next week.
God
Bye.
bless.
Bye.
Bye. Thank